Start barking and barking and barking.
When dogs don't understand the rules and the boundaries and limits, they make mistakes and then they get blamed for it. They get labeled as being bad dogs, or they get sent to the shelter and get rehomed and rehomed. And worst case scenario, they get put to sleep. And in this episode, this is a tough episode because the owners are so frustrated with the dog that they've given up. We're going to watch this episode together. I am, as I do with all of my videos, will be stopping frequently, explaining things as I see them, because my job is to slow it down. I want to break everything down, explain to you why things are working, why the dog's behaving the way it is, so that hopefully you can take what I teach you and use it with your own dog. That's the goal. So stick with me. We're going to get into it right now.
She's created chaos, and it's constantly, Phoebe, no, Phoebe, down, Phoebe, stop, Phoebe, shut that up. It's worse with men, but if you tried to go on my bed.
So right off the bat, I'm feeling that this owner is just at their wits' end. They're frustrated, but you notice that it's constantly blaming the dog. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to make this owner out to be a bad person. That's not what this is about. It's just that humans often default to blame the dog. They don't realize that the dog is just a dog. The dog is doing what dogs do. It's our job as the human to teach the dog what's acceptable and what isn't acceptable. So if the dog is barking all the time, it's because we haven't taught it not to. If the dog is biting, it's because we're misunderstanding, or we haven't created enough rules or structure for that dog to understand how it should behave. There's always two sides to it. And so I just had to point that out, that right off the bat, I hear the owner's frustrated, but their frustration is pointed at the dog instead of looking at what can I do to make it easier for my dog to follow the rules. I'm just going to sit back and blame the dog.
And numerous friends of mine.
My friends won't even come over. Some of mine won't come over because she will attack them.
Yeah.
She jumps on them. She lunges them.
Often it takes.
Again, that's behavior that has never been taught any other way. The dog has never been taught how to behave when company comes over. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if, even without knowing it, the owners taught the dog to do that, right? It's strange how we do it, because what happens is as soon as a dog misbehaves, it does something, especially if it embarrasses us in front of our family or friends, we take that really personal. So we end up building anxiety towards it. So the next time we have somebody come over, we're like, oh God, the dog's going to freak out again. And we start working ourselves up. That energy gets transferred right to the dog. So now the dog, as soon as somebody comes to the door and they feel us get tense, they go, oh, my owner's tense. So they come even stronger the next time. Does that make sense? Like, it's like this vicious cycle, like self-fulfilling prophecy that happens, all because the owners kind of worked it up in their head. So yeah, let's just keep watching.
It's time for me to pinpoint the energy that people might be experiencing. But today, as soon as you walk in, is a very overwhelming tension.
That's interesting that Cesar said that, because I know I've said it in other videos too. That tension he's talking about, as a trainer, we feel it the minute we walk into somebody's home. That energy, that frustration, it's so overwhelming. It's almost like hitting a brick wall when we walk in. And what I've learned is that the owners, they almost get used to it. It's almost like, you ever watch like an episode of Hoarders and you're like, how do these people live like that? Well, to them, they're not living like that. They've just adapted to it. It's become their normal. And that's what happens a lot of times in these cases too, is that high anxiety just becomes the owner's normal for them. But when we walk in with that calm, balanced energy, it can really be overwhelming for us. We kind of walk in and we're just hit with that right off the bat. So we feel it. It's very tangible. We feel that energy.
Without Dina, because Miss Marianne said,
I don't think Phoebe would be as aggressive as if you went by yourself.
okay, without Dina, she's going to attack you. With Dina, less likely to attack. It's the other way around. All right, so let's meet.
Oftentimes, because the owners already have this anxiety towards the dog meeting somebody or something going on, they bring that anxiety with them. And I just explained about the door thing, right? When somebody comes to the door, that same thing happens, right? So the owner's saying, oh, he'll be less likely to bite if this person is with you when you go to meet the dog. In their mind, sure. But actually what Cesar's saying is 100% correct. If they come, they're going to bring that negative energy with them, and that's going to transfer right towards Cesar. So what Cesar's saying is, just give me a fresh slate. I just want to meet this dog without that negative energy.
So you can see a little bit of the eye, you can see the glare. She's more nervous than aggressive.
Cesar brings this up a lot, and I just want to bring it up again. When dogs are born, they're born with their nose open. That's the very first thing the very first sense they have is smell. 10 days after, their ears open, and then 10 days after that, their eyes open. Unfortunately, with these dogs that have lived in this constant state of stress, very often what happens is they start losing the whole scent thing, and they go right for either sound or sight. So what's happening is she's scanning. She's using her eyes. She's scanning for danger. She's listening because she's used to being yelled at and used to all that chaos. So she's hearing things, but she's not using the most important tool that she has. Every dog is equipped with the most important tool, which is their nose. That tells them they can smell. They don't just smell things like, meat and stuff like that. They smell fear. They smell energy. They can smell cancer, right? Like their noses are so sensitive, they can smell everything. So when a dog is stuck in the state, our first job is to try to see if we can get them to start using their nose again. Because when a dog uses their nose, they're using the thinking side of their brain. They're actually starting to process things. So that's really important. And it's a very good cue. When we see a dog like this that's not using their nose and sniffing, that tells us right away they're not balanced, that something's off.
And see, she's holding one feet up. That means I'm not sure about what is this event is all about, but I don't feel aggressive.
I disagree a little bit with that, because right now she's being quite confident. She's standing up, her head's up. She's watching everything. I don't think she's a confident dog. I think she's a very fearful dog. And how I can tell she's a fearful dog is because that leg is up. Now, I always tell people, especially in my grooming salon, if you go to reach for a dog and its leg is up, that's your sign. That's a very big sign right there. That dog's ready to bite. It's not, I always see it as almost like a snake. It's retracting, right? It's ready to strike. So yeah, that's where I disagree with what Cesar said, because in my experience, usually when that leg comes up, something's going to follow. Maybe they're just going to run away. They could just be getting ready to run. But in my experience, if somebody doesn't see that as a sign and they try to reach in, very likely they're going to get bit.
That glare is there, rage surface, so we have to be very careful about that. And she's not being unpredictable. This is very predictable behavior.
See how she's scanning. She's looking, like her head's on a swivel, and it's just like she can't relax because she's just in constant, the world's gonna eat me mode, right? That's how she is. So she's definitely a very scared dog. And that's probably, I need to back this up. When our children are scared, we hug them, right? We want to make them feel that. When we're scared, we want somebody to say, it's okay. You're gonna be okay. That makes perfect sense to us, right? Unfortunately, dogs are different. If a dog is scared, we hug them, or we pet them, or we try to encourage them with our voice by saying things like, it's okay. We're actually encouraging that scared state. And this usually happens as puppies. It happens very, very young. Some puppies are born confident and happy and they're fine. Others are nervous and, more just standoffish. And I find it a lot with those puppies that the owners feel bad for the puppy. So they reach in and it's okay. And they pick them up or they cuddle them. And unfortunately, even though they come with the best intention, what it does is it tells the puppy, you're right to be scared. You're right to be nervous. Continue that. And so the dog just ends up feeling more and more unsure of whatever it was that was scaring it. It seems really unnatural, but the best thing you can do in that situation is actually either ignore them 100% or kind of push them towards whatever it is they're scared of. Make them confront it, because once they realize that whatever it was that scared them isn't actually that scary, they walk away feeling like, oh, I just accomplished something. That wasn't so bad. We're going to go one more clip into this, watch a little bit more, and then before we go any further, I am going to play my clip about the dog scale. Again, I use my scale from 0 to 5 when I'm assessing dogs. I made a clip, so I'm going to put that in here so you guys can see it. And then the rest of the video, I want you guys to be watching the video and thinking in the back of your mind about my scale. Where do you think this dog is on my scale? Okay, so let's play one more clip here.
Okay, I'm gonna go in. Phoebe owns the whole entire house. It's just that she just owns it. It's just the bedroom becomes a much more powerful place for her to be because she spends most of the time there, especially when Dina goes to work.
There you go. Okay, before I go any further, I'm going to play that clip and then we'll come back and continue on. So I just want to explain my scale. This is a scale that I use when I'm assessing dogs when I go to a client's place. So 0, level 0, they're sleeping, they're out cold, not a problem. Level 1, they're resting, they're awake, they're kind of watching what's going on. Maybe they're doing a gentle pant. Nothing, no, they're not participating. They're not following us around. They're not doing any of that. They're just laying there watching. Level 2, now they're walking around, they're sniffing, they're panting, they're playing with toys respectfully. They're still not getting in our way. They're not bugging anyone. They're with us, being part of the family. Level 3, now they're starting to get excited, okay? So now we're getting more of a fast tail wag, bodies wagging, maybe they're whining, they're attention seeking, they're taking, if you've got a dog that likes toys, he's bringing those toys, he's squeaking them really loud, or he's bringing them to you and demanding your attention. And he's unable to settle at this point. So you give him a command to go lay down or go settle down, and he just can't. Level 4, now we get into more severe problems. Right now they're jumping, maybe they're pulling on the leash, they're digging, they're chewing on objects that are on the floor, the furniture, they're starting to bark. And keep in mind that they can still do all of these other things in these other levels, right? Like you might still get whining and attention seeking, but this just means that there's more stuff going on. So they're escalating up to almost an unmanageable point now. Level 5 is where we start really seeing major problems, which is, they're destroying your furniture, your house. There's heavy panting sometimes, excessive barking. When you walk, they're scanning for threats. It's growling, snarling, fighting, and possibly fighting with a sibling, another dog in the house, or just overall being a little mischief maker. So that's a very simplified way to look at when I say a dog's at a 2 or a dog's at a 4. This is what I'm talking about right here. Okay, so our goal as the owners or as handlers, we want to keep our dogs between a 0 and a 2. That's the perfect zone, right? If we're out walking, we're taking them for a walk, maybe we're throwing the ball for them, they can start to get into, a 3 a little bit, but we really do want to keep, every time we start seeing our dogs start to get a little bit more excited, we want to ask ourselves, okay, what level are they at? We want to try to keep them at that level. So as soon as we start seeing them rise up, we say, knock it off and settle them back down. It's a lot easier to keep our dogs at a level 2 and correct them just as they get to a level 3 than it is to wait for our dogs to get to a level 5 and then try to get them to a level 1. It just doesn't happen. They're just too far gone at that point. All right. So now that you've had a chance to watch the video, I want you to really think about it now. As I hit this button here and we keep watching, where do you think this dog is right now based on what you just learned from my scale? How would you assess this dog? And what do you think they need to do now in order to help the dog calm down?
That's a nervous bark right there. Stay right here, yeah. So now she's retrieving. So what you have here is so instead of us becoming tense, jumping, getting nervous.
All right, so hopefully you would have guessed that she's probably at a 4. Maybe 4.5. She's getting up there into the 5 range, right? She can't settle. She's anxious. She's, you saw her doing that really fast, frantic wave with her tail. She's hiding under the bed, but she's doing that because that empowers her. When she gets under that bed, she she turns from a little toy poodle to a Great Dane in her mind, right? That hiding behavior makes them feel like they're big because nobody can reach in. Nobody's probably reached in and grabbed her before, because if they did, they probably worry that she'll bite. She might even bite. I don't know. But anyways, just keep the scale in mind here. Remember, the goal is, as an owner, we want to keep our dogs at a 2. Right? That's where we want to keep. That's the sweet spot. If we can keep our dogs at a 2, I'm out of a job. It's that simple. Unfortunately, it's teaching people how to see the subtle changes and how to correct the dog right as it's starting to creep from that 2 to that 2.25, right? We want to get them right there instead of waiting until they're at a 4 or a 5. So let's go.
It's getting tense. We want to relate with her with a calm way of being, and at the same time very commanding. Right now, the brain is going through the process of, so what do I do now? Now that she's in a much calmer state, we're going to start introducing things that normally triggers her to go to a high level.
I will say that normally in a situation like this, let's say, pretend that I was going to this client's house and the client just described everything through an email or phone, I would ask that the client have a leash on their dog before I get there, because I want to be able to block the behavior right away. So right now, Cesar, I don't know if I haven't watched this episode to the end, so I'm not sure, but ideally, you don't want to let them get under the bed. You don't want to let them run under the furniture. You want to be able to block it, because that's what, believe it or not, that is one of the leading problems. That's what's causing all of these, the leading cause to all of these problems is the retreating, because nobody can make her deal with it. So she never actually has to face what she's scared of, because she just goes and hides. By blocking that behavior, we're saying, look, see, there is nothing there to be scared of. We're not going to hurt you. And the more you do that, the more times you block it, the better she becomes at coping with whatever it is that she was scared of.
A dog's supposed to tell you somebody's behind the door, right?
Right.
So that's what she's saying. Somebody is there. What we don't like is that she stays there for a long time.
And again, this goes back to something that I've said in several of my other videos, that you need to decide for yourself in your household what you're comfortable with. I'm going to give you an example. I have a dog grooming shop. I like it when my dogs bark because the shop is in the front and I live in the back. So a lot of times if I'm in between clients or I'm waiting for another client to show up, I'll be watching TV in my room and I won't even hear a customer come in. So I like it when my dogs bark. But I also expect that when I walk out there and I go, enough, they go, okay, mom's here, and they stop the behavior. That's comfortable for me. That is what I like. Somebody else might be like, oh, Colleen, I live in an apartment. I can't have any barking at all. Okay, well, there you go. There's your comfort zone. So everyone's going to have their own comfort zone. And it's really important that you sit down and think, okay, I want my dog to tell me I have somebody at the door, but they don't have to sit there and bark for 15 minutes. They can just give me 1, 2, 3, woof, woof, woof. Now I know somebody's at the door. Or like me, you bark until you see me and then you be quiet. You need to figure that out. And that becomes your blueprint that you're going to teach your dog. Does that make sense?
What we do for her is we're going to put a leash so we can bring her here so she can learn how to do it away from being under a bed.
Oh, I called it. See, I haven't even watched this full episode yet, and I already knew he was bringing out the leash. Okay. Colleen, stop patting yourself on the back and watch. Okay, here we go.
With Phoebe out of her hiding place, it's time to help her face her demons.
Can I just stop for 2 seconds? I just want to stop for 2 seconds and say, this puppy is adorable. Oh my God, like you can't get much cuter than this. And you can really tell that this pup wants to do well. He just doesn't know. She's just confused.
So here.
Oh, that was such a good correction. You probably wouldn't have picked up on it because it was so subtle. Here's the thing. So right now, puppy's not growling. Puppy goes, she hears something at the door. Her energy went from a 2. She was being calm, being quiet. All of a sudden she went grr, like that. Just as she started to do the rumble, Cesar corrected it. That is when you want to do the correction, guys. If he waited until she went woof, 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 then she's already at a 5 and we've missed the time for the correction. Do you get that? That is, if you get nothing else from this video, that's what I want you to get, is that timing is everything. We want to do the correction when it's at a 2.25. We don't want to wait until it's already at a 5, even a 3 or a 4. We want to try to get it as close to that 2 mark as we can. What we're doing is saying, this is where I want you. Here's my level. If you start to cross it even just this much, I'm going to give you a correction. Don't wait until they're all the way here. Correct them when they're right here. That is your sweet spot. It's going to be so much easier. Like Cesar did, it's a knock it off compared to a, all-out war.
I'm disagreeing. See, the leash stays 99% of the time without tension.
In the wild, when a wolf or a dog corrects another dog, it's an instant release of pressure. Ironically, it's the release of pressure is actually where the communication happens. So you'll see one dog will do an alpha roll on another dog, and they'll run up with their chest, and the other dog just flops over on its side. That's the alpha roll. As soon as the dog flips over on its side, immediately the other dog releases pressure. Notice he knocks the dog down and instantly backs off. Now the dog's going to pop back up again. He's going to jump back in and make the dog lay back down. Again, knocks the dog down, does the alpha roll, and backs off right away. That's it. Lesson's over. You learned it, right? So what Cesar's saying here is the leash is tense. He did the correction and he instantly released pressure, because what he wants to do is mark the behavior. If you keep pressure on, if you do no, and then you keep that pressure on the leash, the dog doesn't know where or what is being corrected. All it knows is that there's constant pressure, and now it gets confused. We just want to mark the behavior. The behavior was the grrr, just that very slight rumble. So as soon as you do the correction, you instantly have to release pressure. The release of pressure says, okay, that lesson is over. Now we're moving on.
Yes, that's even better. That's good.
So where do you think puppy dog is now? This is what we want. It's so much easier, even now, just with the leash. Do you notice how she's not, she can still, if she wanted, she could at least try to get under the bed. She's not now. Now she's laying down. She's calming down. Now she's actually doing it all herself. She's soothing herself, which is exactly what we wanted. And this is where we want our dogs. This right here is 1.5, 2. She's perfect right now.
As she's surrendering to the activity, that's what she lay down. Here we have a nervous, excited, dominant dog. That's what we have. And then we see the expression as aggression.
That correction that the lady did there was almost perfect, but by the time she did the correction, the dog was already at a grrr. So she was at the grrr, and then the correction happened. Where we wanted to do the correction is right at the grrr, right there. So as soon as you hear that little bit of a rumble, that's when you want to make the correction, because that's at their lowest point of the excitement.
But it's more frantic. Very good, very good. And then relax the leash.
See how she kept the total instinct. It happens, right? Owners do this all the time. She did the correction, but then she kept the pressure on. She's like, okay, is she going to follow through? Is she going to listen? Is she going to listen? And she kept the pressure on. And you notice the dog the whole time is looking at her like, what? Okay, what? Because it didn't understand. There was no release. It's the release of pressure that actually tells the dog that the lesson's over. So because she kept the leash tense, the dog was like, what do you want? What do you want? It didn't understand. So she was very close. I love that right away she went to do the correction, but just a little too late, and then she didn't release the pressure rate as soon as she should. It's instant. Correct, release. Correct, release.
Very good, very good. Very fantastic. And relax. Yes, this is good. We want her to, every time she misbehaves, we get to help.
Right.
And everybody here is here to help.
This is such great advice. From now on, when your dog makes a mistake, instead of looking at it like, oh my God, my dog just screwed up again, look at it like, ooh, teaching opportunity. This is an opportunity. Your dog has just marked something for you to fix. Even if you're not in a good mood, maybe you've had a rough day and you're tired from work, you don't feel like doing it, jot it down somewhere. Be like, okay, this was a trigger for my dog. You can do it tomorrow or later in the day, whenever. You just want to have a list of things that you can work on so that when you're in a good mood, because that's important, you have to be in a good mood yourself. If you're already stressed, it won't work. Bank it. Just be like, okay, I'm going to deal with this after supper when I'm not hungry and I've had time to relax and the kids are asleep, then I'm going to work on it. The other thing you make sure to do is limit how long you're doing your training sessions for. I see this a lot where clients it's like, I'm going to work for the next hour on this. Don't do that. Don't. Break your training sessions up into like 5-10 minutes max. Just, I'm going to work on this for the next 5 minutes and then I'm just going to drop it. You can always come back in 15-20 minutes if you want and work on it again or do something else. But keep these sessions nice and light and very quick. It's going to be way easier on you and a gazillion times easier for your dog.
I'm going to suggest is not to use the name while you discipline a dog.
Okay. Phoebe.
Very good, very good. So she never attached discipline to a name.
The reason we don't want to use the dog's name all the time is because we want to make the name be something that our dog comes to every single time. Right? If we're out, God forbid, it gets off the leash or something and it starts to run, we want to be able to say Phoebe or whatever your dog's name is, and the dog instantly looks to us. If we use its name every single time it gets in trouble, it starts to associate its name with something negative, something to be feared of or something to ignore. And we don't want that. We want every good thing happens when a dog hears its name. Then what'll happen is every single time it hears its name, it looks to you and says, okay, what next? That's what we want. We always want our dogs to associate their name with something positive. The less is more rule really applies with dogs. So saying things like no or stop it, keep it nice and simple and very short and sweet. That's what's going to work best for your dog, and no names.
Would you just going to react to block or disagree? Hey.
Okay.
You can already see the owners getting tense here. This would have been a great time for Cesar to tell her to pick up this book and just start looking. Just flip through the magazine. Don't even pay attention to what I'm about to do. Because unfortunately, what's happening is the owner is already playing this tape through in her head. Oh God, Cesar's going to try and sit on the bed. That my dog's going to lunge at Cesar. She's playing that tape through. And even though she doesn't know it, her energy is shifting. When our energy shifts, we create different chemicals in our body, and the dog can smell that chemical change. So even if we try to be as still as possible or change our body, we can't change our chemicals in our body. And that's what the dog is smelling, and that's what the dog's reacting to. So doing something like reading a book or flipping through a magazine, it helps us not change our chemicals because we're busy looking at baking or pretty pictures. We're not thinking of Cesar sitting on the bed.
What I'm doing here is I'm looking at this part. I'm not looking at the dog. I'm looking at this part. Let's say you have a friend, and that friend have to learn that he can come over here.
Okay. See the side eye right there? I mean, obviously it's hard for her because we're seeing it from this angle. The owner isn't seeing it. But this is the perfect time to do a correction. Is right here, because she's already starting to escalate. He or she, whatever. She's given Cesar the side eye. She's getting ready to, I bet you any money, there's probably already a quiet rumble going on here. If she did a correction right now, just to knock it off, she would never escalate to charging at Cesar.
Right, so this way, see, my eye contact was right there where I wanted to be. Say, hey, there you go.
I'm actually really impressed with how calm this poodle was, because I know in the beginning there that she was talking about how the poodle tends to have a lot of aggression towards men. So I fully expected that as soon as Cesar touched the bed, she was going to lunge. But she did really good. Like, she was actually really calm. And then when she did escalate and Cesar caught it right away, he was able to go, no. And notice she was like, okay, not happy about it, but okay. That's great.
Now, why did I say, hey? Because when she turned around, she did this. So that's silence. Okay. There you go.
She's a little cobra, isn't she? Look at that. Again, so as I just said, if the owner unfortunately didn't even notice it because she was so focused on what Cesar was saying, and then Cesar just kind of moved right in which was perfect. I'm not saying he did anything wrong. I'm just saying that the owner didn't even have time to react at that point.
Correct. There you go. Nice. And then let it go.
Oh, I liked she released. You see that? She did this. That was great. And then no tension on the leash. I love that. That this owner is getting it. Like, that's awesome.
There you go. That's all right. Don't focus on that.
Okay.
Breathe. There you go. This is part of it. Good. We're completely.
Here's the one problem is that see how the dog is leaning up against her? That is going to make him feel very empowered. It's kind of a double-edged sword because one, he's feeling more powerful because he's leaning against her, but he also feels like he has to protect her because his back is against her like that. The best thing she could do, I hope Cesar actually gets her to do this. I don't know how it's going to go, but you need to get dog away from you. You do not ever want to let your dog lean against you in a situation like this, especially if they're already aggressive or fearful or nervous. You want to say, hey, no, and just put a little bit of space between you and the dog. In this case, what I would do, because the dog's already on a leash, is I would pick the dog up and I would probably put him over here, so he's still a part of the activity, but he's not guarding her, because that can cause a problem. I wouldn't be surprised if he lashes out again, just because right now he's leaning against her.
Okay, so move her towards me. There we go. Go ahead. There you go. Again.
See how he slinks right back, because here, when he's here, he feels exposed. He feels vulnerable. But as soon as he gets over here, this is the comfort zone, is right here. So he instantly wants to go back there because he feels a lot more powerful here.
She's gravitating to you because she's looking for the safety net. It's like going under the bed. If she gets near you and leans against you.
I don't know if you guys can see it, but she's actually starting to use her nose now. So it's very subtle, but now that the owner's pushed her away and not allowing her to lean against her, all of a sudden she's still using her eyes a lot. She's scanning around, but she's sniffing, because all of a sudden she's not as shut down. She has no choice now but to assess this new situation, and that requires using her nose.
Lay back. Go ahead, lay back. Yeah, now we gotta go, because she's already okay, so I got it, right?
But be careful getting up.
Notice how she's doing some lip licking. This is just her assessing the situation, calming herself down. This is all new. She's used to running guys off that bed before they even have a chance to introduce themselves, right? So this is new. Not only is she not allowed to run Cesar off the bed, but she's also not allowed to cuddle up to her owner, which is her way of avoiding. So she's just self-soothing. She's doing some licking. She's trying to figure out, okay, how do I fit into this here?
If I get up, okay, fine, I'm gonna get up. Go ahead, there you go.
Okay, she started giving Cesar the side eye when Cesar started moving. So she became unsure. The moment Cesar started moving, she was already unsure even when he was laying there, but she was starting to relax. Then he moved and she locked in on him, and she was like, wait, what are you doing? Then as he moved away, she started to feel like that side eye she was giving him was pushing him off. The further away he got, the stronger she felt she was. So as Cesar got off the bed, she was like, oh, I'm really strong now. Arr, 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 and went in with full force. It happened very quick. But again, if you break it down, you look at it, she actually went, perfect, right? She did the side eye. The side eye is what caused him to move. The bigger the side eye got, the more aggressive she felt, more dominant she felt. Now he's all the way, off the bed, and she's just feels like she's Cujo now. She's won, right?
Beautiful. Nice. Very good. This dog bit many people before, so she's already a master of biting people. So what is she going to do to somebody who's going to help her? She's going to do the same thing.
I want to point out that you notice that Cesar didn't move his hand when she bit. That's really important. If when a dog bites us, we pull back, we're empowering the dog. So it can be so hard to do this, but the most important thing to do is either push into the dog as the dog's biting or stand firm. I always suggest push in, right? Because if you push into something, the instinct is to eventually, well, you kind of push in back, and then eventually the dog has no choice but to back up. And that's what we want. So depending on how severe the bite is, if you push into it, it causes the dog to be like, whoa, wait, and back up. If you pull away, the dog's going to bite harder, right? It's trying to grab onto you even harder. So I like that Cesar didn't back up. He just kind of stood there for it, which is exactly what you need to do.
She doesn't know that I can actually help. She's been asking for help for a long time, but nobody has been able to help because everybody makes her wrong. Everybody is afraid of her.
Notice how this time already it's starting to sink into her. She didn't lash out this time when Cesar got on the bed because she remembered 2 minutes ago, Cesar got on the bed and she got corrected. So this time she didn't do it. Also notice there wasn't the big side eye, staring down. She's still kind of glancing over to see what he's doing, but she's not staring him down. She's not, grr, right? It's more, oh, you're back again? Thought I put you in your place already.
Her family members don't like her. It's just a big mess here. It's a big mess. We're cleaning this mess slowly, little by little. Let's face this challenge. There you go. Nice. Good.
I wish she wasn't touching the owner, but look at how she's actually exposing her belly to Cesar. Like, she's like, okay, I tried biting, I tried lunging, I tried growling, I tried doing all these other things. That didn't work. Here's my belly, right? This is her waving her white flag saying, I submit, peace, I mean you no harm. It's just completely different than how she has been up until this point. So it just goes to show how quickly a dog can transition when they know that they're safe and that all that is expected of them is to be calm.
Ready? Very good. So, very beautiful.
I can give her praise now.
Sure.
Good job, Phoebe.
I do see the possibility.
That's the time to give praise, right? So, the owner's instincts were dead on there. Can I pet her now? Yeah. We want to praise them when they're calm, when they're balanced, when they're doing what we want. That's when you want to lavish them with all the love. You don't want to come in excited. You don't want to be like, good puppy, and get them all excited. But you can still love on them, rub their ears, massage their shoulders, do all of that stuff, because then they start associating those scary things with good feelings, which is what we want.
That smile to me means more than the whole good girl thing. Because that's through happiness, you know what I mean? It's like,
not only is it, as Cesar says, that smile means everything, blah, 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 but it's changing the chemicals in our body. The dog is smelling happiness now. So instead of the dog smelling all this fear and anxiety coming from the owner, it's like, oh, it's happy. My owner's happy. And that instantly changes the dog's perspective of this whole scenario because there's nothing to be scared of. You can't be happy and scared, right? Like that's kind of counterproductive. So obviously there's nothing to be scared of. I'm going to be happy.
But making sure you understand calm assertive energy first. So if everybody practice calm assertive energy, and then she can then start healing from everybody.
Now, what do I do?
I just want to point out, you notice that she's not diving under the bed. Even though nobody's holding the leash, she's just laying there. The leash is still on, which is exactly what you want right now, because if she does try to resort back to her old ways of hiding, you have a way of getting her out or blocking the behavior. But notice how calm she's being right now. Like, she's just there. She could easily skirt under the bed. She's choosing not to because she feels safe. She feels, for probably the first time in a very long time, if not her whole life, oh, I know what's expected of me right now, and I'm safe.
Maybe the first 3 days, you're going to invest a lot of time, but the fourth day, because
I say that a lot. When you're trying these techniques, or any technique, you need to give it a couple of days. A lot of times people try something once or twice, and then if it doesn't work, they give up, or it'll work a little bit, but it doesn't work all the way. It takes a good 3 days to really see consistent change. And that's if you are being consistent all the time. You'll notice a big difference right away, right? If you're doing everything right and you're going through, you will notice a difference, but they're still going to fall back to their old behaviors. It takes about 3 full days of repetition for the dogs to all of a sudden go, this is my new normal. So, and a lot of people, they give up on day 1. They don't wait for the full 3 days. So those first 3 days, you're micromanaging the living daylights out of them, depending on what you're working on. And it feels like a lot of work, but I guarantee by day 3, you're like, oh yeah, this is what I wanted all along.
This is going to be my 4th time coming to the bed, right? So this is my 4th time. It's my 4th time. Not my 4th day, my 4th time. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
So 4 days is...
Oh, I love that. Did you guys see that? Cesar didn't even have to tell her. Right away, she remembered, push the dog away. Because as soon as Cesar sat on the bed, the dog started slinking and leaned right back into the owner. But because the owner didn't allow her to escalate by getting close to her, she never went to the next stage, which was growling and lunging after Cesar.
There's been some progress.
Good.
I think the biggest progress has been that Phoebe has gotten on the treadmill and we have calmed down.
You did it. Dina definitely did a great job on the treadmill, you know. So I was very, very pleased that she actually followed through with the concept of a treadmill. The treadmill was there. Nobody was using it. Good sign. Great, great sign.
Treadmills are a great way, especially if you have health issues or mobility issues, to get your dog the exercise that they need without, having to go out and walk them multiple times a day. And it's a really good way to help dogs that are anxious. If your dog is, say, scared of fireworks or scared of, other loud noises, you get them used to being on a treadmill. When those fireworks start going and you put them on the treadmill, they start focusing on the treadmill, on the exercise, and they totally lose track of what's going on outside. So it's a really, really great tool to use.
There has been some continuation of Phoebe biting.
Mm-hmm.
For instance, my mom's goddaughter came in and sat at the table. Phoebe went and laid on her carpet, and everything was fine. And then when she got up to leave, boom, Phoebe got her and bit her. She bit my nephew twice on Thanksgiving during a family game we were playing because she was laying down, and then the game got exciting, and then she bit him twice.
So here's the problem. This comes down to we have to have a blueprint in our mind of what's acceptable and what's not. So if you know you're going to be doing an activity that's going to be exciting or high energy, and you have a dog that's anxious or high energy already, that might be a good time to have a spot where, listen, you need to lay over here right now, right? And you teach your dog to stay on the bed or stay in a kennel, or even use a leash and tie them, say, to the leg of your couch or something, and let them know that this is where they're expected to be right now. By allowing the dog to just have free roam of the house at that point, again, there's no rules, there's no boundaries, and there's no limitations. The dog is just kind of running the show. And because he wasn't equipped to deal with that level of excitement and energy from what was going on, he lashed out and bit. The sad part about it is that the dog is the one who pays the price, even though the owners could have prevented it by simply, like I said, tying the dog up or putting it in a kennel or having a bed, teaching it when things get exciting, this is where you need to go. They didn't do that. They just expected the dog to understand. And of course he didn't. And then when he bit, he gets blamed as being the bad dog.
So she's coming for a place that she's going to tell people how to behave. If you put her there, and then it changes the state of mind. If she makes a decision, that makes her a dominant one.
Right.
Well, we need...
See, in a dog world, if you've ever gone to a dog park and you see a really hyper dog and you notice other dogs will jump on it and try to a lot of times people think that the dog is being bullied. But really what's happening is those other dogs are saying, you're too excited. I need to calm you down. You're too excited. Dogs crave balance. They crave calmness. And when another dog comes in with a super unhealthy level of excitement, dogs instinctively want to jump on it to calm it down. And a lot of times it'll look like a fight. It'll look like the one dog's being picked on. That's what's happened here. This dog saw these humans with this high energy. I don't know what game they were playing, but the owner said they were playing some kind of a game, and there was high energy. And the dog got in there and went, "Wait, you guys aren't balanced," and tried to correct the humans because it didn't know any better. It just assumed that these humans were unbalanced and its job was to correct them.
To stop is allowing her to make decisions, because every time she makes decisions, she gets a little frantic. A lot of people want to achieve 100% rehabilitation in a month, and the reality is most of the humans are not capable to achieve 100% rehabilitation. But
oh, I love how he says that. Most humans are not capable of achieving that level in a month. Dogs are. Dogs are 100% capable. But the bottom line is, us as humans, we aren't in most cases. And I see it almost every single day. I see the same cycle happen. Oh, I tried it, Colleen. It worked great for, an hour. And I did. Oh, did you follow through? Well, no, I got busy. I somebody phoned, or I had to go to work. Well, that's the problem, right? We must be consistent. If every third time the dog wins or the dog, gets away with it, that's not consistency. And the dog doesn't mean he won't learn. It just means it's going to take that much longer for him to learn. So what Cesar's saying is right. 30 days is pretty unrealistic if you're not willing to put in the effort. You have to put the effort in. The more you put in the beginning, the shorter the time frame is going to be.
There has been a lot of progress.
I didn't rescue a dog to not have harmony in my home.
Yes.
Maybe I can have to put Phoebe down if she's going to continue to bite. So then a friend of mine said, well, maybe we can have some of Phoebe's teeth removed, because if she doesn't have her teeth, she can't bite, and then we can't be sued, or she can't hurt anybody.
I never filed the teeth of any dog in my life.
Oh, wow. Okay. This is a new one. Wow. When I say this is a new one, I mean, yeah, I don't think I've ever seen one of Cesar's episodes where the owners actually considered removing the teeth. I have to say, I'm trying to think back. There have been times where I've had clients bring it up with large dogs, German Shepherds and stuff. Absolutely never an option in my eyes to do that, to file the teeth or to remove the teeth. Wow, that's brutal. Yeah, no, I definitely would never recommend doing that. But again, see, this is, I was talking to my kid about this the other day, and I said, the microwave, it really screwed us over. As soon as the microwave came, humans all of a sudden wanted instant gratification. And when the microwave came along and we were able to throw our food in the microwave and 30 seconds later it was done, our whole attitude towards life changed. All of a sudden we want that 1 minute fix all the time. But the problem is dogs are still living in a pre-microwave world. They are still on their own time limit. They didn't get that memo, right? So they're still functioning the way they always have. But as humans, all of a sudden, they're like, well, we need to fix this now, and I want it done in a minute. But that's just not going to work. And unfortunately, when you use that kind of blueprint towards our dogs, and the dog doesn't fit it, doesn't conform, our response is, well, I'm going to take the teeth away, or I'm going to kill the dog. And wow.
Life. Never took the canines away from any dog in my life. So that to me was not an option. I mean, I'm respectful to the professionals, but to me that was not an option. So I said, look, you still have another option, which is us taking her, rehabilitating her, and find the right human for her.
You know what frustrates me is that she said just a couple of minutes ago, we didn't rescue this dog to have it bite humans. And what really gets to me is that, there's this, you can see, the tears. I was just about to say something else, the tears or whatever, because all of a sudden she's being put in a position now where, well, I guess I'm not going to be the rescuer. Now I have to give the dog up. But really, she didn't rescue the dog. She just took the dog from one situation and put it in a position where it felt it had no choice. It was never given leadership. It was never given guidance. It was just plopped into a house and said, here, survive. And when it didn't conform the way the owners wanted, it got labeled as a bad dog. So thank goodness Cesar's stepping up. Thank goodness he's saying, hey, I will do right by this dog. I will truly rescue this dog. There's a difference from just acquiring a dog from a shelter and actually rescuing a dog. This is a prime example of that. Sure, they got a dog from a rescue, but they didn't rescue the dog.
Even though Dina is prepared to give up Phoebe, Cesar wants to try one last option.
I can't just take this problem away from her. I want her to deal with the problem a little longer, get closure, and then move on.
You're not mad, you're just telling her.
Yeah. Wait.
I just want to, I hate interrupting you guys all the time, but did you see how quickly Cesar did the like that? He was, 10 feet away or whatever, maybe 6, 7 feet away. And he did that. Nobody was holding a leash. Right away, she just calmly laid down. This is the same dog that in the beginning of the video was, lunging and chasing and snapping and biting at anyone. And look at how calm she is already. If that's not proof of how quickly a dog can change, I don't know what is.
To help Dina deal with the problem, Cesar arranges for a private dog trainer to work with her and Phoebe.
Back and stand up straight.
Hey, I think this is Colleen. Her name's Colleen too. So she's got to be a great trainer because her name's Colleen too. I'm pretty sure that's her name.
So after only one day, I'm going to give you a report about Phoebe. This is pretty much her behavior. She goes and hides. We saw that behavior at home.
A little leg up. She's still unsure. Basically, this is her way of saying, "Hey, I'm a little unsure," but she's checking everything out.
Very timid, very shy, but not aggressive. So that is already an improvement that we've seen. I keep her on a leash because she has tendency to go and hide, as you remember. So this is one of the activities that I do. There you go, see it? That's better. I want her to come towards.
Wow, what a huge difference. So she went from in the beginning where she was hiding and trying to avoid everything to now actually coming towards the things that are scaring her.
And remember, she had an issue with men, so only a man can help her. That's funny, huh?
I don't know if I believe that, but I do believe that obviously if she has a problem with men that we got to help her get over that. But I don't think only a man can help Cesar. Come on.
Phoebe?
Oh.
Good girl. That's a good girl. She looks wonderful. My wife decided to throw a Super Bowl party. I brought Phoebe in the party and supervised, her reactions, and she did fantastic. I mean, she was very excited. It's like she was never allowed to interact.
I don't think I've ever had an episode that's made me want to cry so much. Like, this little girl is just, oh my gosh. I know there's a lot of Cesar haters out there, and I don't agree with everything that Cesar does. I think I've made that very clear in some of my videos. I have a problem. I also want to take a second and say, look at all the things he's done good. Look at all of the dogs he's helped. And this is just one example of hundreds and hundreds of dogs that he's helped over the years. And oh my gosh, I'm just so happy. I am. Anyways, guys, I'm going to end the episode here because Phoebe lives happily ever after, gets rescued from that horrible situation. And I'm sorry, it was a horrible situation. I mean, the poor dog couldn't do any right with those owners. So thank goodness he was able to get in there and get her before they removed the teeth or put her down. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you had a good time, and I know I did. I can't wait to see you guys in the next video. Until then, take care. Bye.